Thank you, Dan. Good evening once again. Both teams had welcome wins in midweek, but now have to address the major issues about their seasons. Cardiff have been shocking at home. Reading have been woeful away. And Sabri Lamouchi's pragmatism helped the Bluebirds to that crucial victory at Birmingham. But he knows both he and the team could be on borrowed time already at such a turbulent club. While Paul Ince knows, had the Royals just been average outside Berkshire, they'd be in the playoff mix. But considering their off-field issues themselves, he deserves credit for making them anything better than mediocre. Two changes for Cardiff. Romeo and Rinomota drop to the bench. Philogene and Robinson come in. Their team is Allsop in goal, and G. McGuinness and Kipper the back three. O'Dowda, Sawyers, Wintle and Philogene across midfield. Robinson playing behind Cabba and Etete. 5 changes for Reading. Their top scorer Tom Ince, the manager's son, among those left on the bench. Lumley in goal, and Bengway, Dan and Sarr the back three. Hoylett and Guinness Walker are their wing backs. McIntyre, Forner and Laum in midfield. Aziz and Carroll are in attack. The weather here is absolutely filthy. Torrential rain, and it's that really fine rain which gets you absolutely drenched. And the number of fans who have been heading into the stadium looking like drowned rats before kick-off. And Sam Parkin and the rest of our team were here nice and early, but these conditions on what was a heavily watered pitch an hour or so ago will have a real impact on the game.
It will, yeah, and two teams, I think, Nigel, that will probably want to play a little bit back to front as well, so it probably will have an effect as well. We know how strong Reading can be from set pieces as well in particular, and given the success that Cardiff had in their victory at Birmingham, going longer into their two very physical centre forwards, then they're going to have to be really careful with this swirling wind that's just arrived in the Welsh capital in the last hour or so.
Well, Cardiff already have had less possession, more long balls and more shots on target on average under Sabri Lamouchi than they did under both Steve Morrison and Mark Hudson. It's a fairly small sample, but it's clear how he wants to play.
Absolutely, and I think putting ingredient of Callum Robinson into the mix tonight as well after him missing out, he should be confident. He's been, a really good creator, a good goal scorer for them so far this season, their main threat obviously, but I think now that they've brought a couple of other strikers in there to complement him at the top end of the pitch, he can be a little bit more relaxed, and yeah, I expect the balls to be direct into that front two. Really going to be interesting to see Callum Robinson playing a slightly different role tonight, but I expect him to continue to be their talisman.
And Reading with the most defeats and most goals conceded away from home, but they're still only 6 points away from the playoffs, which maybe tells you a good deal about the Championship this season. And we are underway here. The football weekend begins on Talksport 2 in the Championship at a windswept and very rainy South Wales, as Cardiff City wearing all blue, playing from left to right in the first half. Reading in their chain strip, light pink shirts and black shorts, and they quickly give the ball away, but then it's cleared away by the experienced Scott down inside the penalty area as Callum Robinson looked to turn, and it will be a throw-in for Cardiff City on the far side, which Callum O'Dowda will take. And he's got plenty of support inside the penalty area, short towards the peroxide-topped Callum Robinson, and now lofted low into the penalty area, and it's cleared away at the near post by Mbengwe. And now Andy Carroll wrestling with Mark McGuinness, and Carroll was being held down there by the Cardiff City central defender, and Darren Bond, our referee, has given Reading their first free kick of the evening.
Yeah, good start from Cardiff City, and expect that to happen. O'Dowda fed the ball on the left hand side, and only one thought in his mind, trying to supply some good quality into the middle. And looks like Callum Robinson's going to play just off the front two. Could be quite a fluid system, but they've got firepower in the side now from the off, and with two wing backs, very attacking wing backs as well in Philogene and O'Dowda. Expect that ball to come fizzing into the 18-yard box on all occasions.
Now Andy Carroll has been penalised for an arm into the face of Perry and G on this near side. It wasn't just a stray arm into the face, he actually grabbed hold of him in that area, and G has gone down. He was almost as if he was trying to rip off a face mask there, and Sabri Lamouchi was not too happy about that, and he's already complaining to the fourth official, Andy Woolner.
Yeah, clumsy, wasn't it? It was definitely an arm in the face. I don't think he meant to hurt the Cardiff player, but maybe fortunate to escape with just a telling off from the ref.
Situation, Reading 15th in the table, 6 points off the playoffs. They would move up to 11th with a win here. They've also got a game in hand on Watford, who are currently in the final playoff place, but there are plenty of teams between Reading and the top six at the moment. At the bottom of the table, reading downwards, Rotherham 33 points, Cardiff 32 points, Wigan 30 points, Huddersfield 28 points, Blackpool 28 points, and all of those teams have a game in hand on Cardiff. So really, this is must win for Cardiff to keep themselves above the danger line tomorrow. Here is O'Dowda now on the far side, the left, looks to deliver a low ball in, but it's blocked by the former Cardiff player Junior Hoylett, and it will be a throw in again to Cardiff. 3 minutes played, 0-0 on Talksport 2. O'Dowda's around the back left hand side, but his first touch was just a bit heavy, and it's guided behind by Loam, and it will be a goal kick to Reading.
Yeah, did well there, Loam, and I expect that to be the case really. They've got good defensive cover in the midfield positions. Obviously Tom McIntyre's a centre half by trade, he's playing in the midfield, and there's good legs around him in there as well. So Callum O'Dowda just a little bit loose with his first touch on the left hand side and comes to nothing, but a good start from the home side.
So Jayden Philogene is playing as the wing back on this near side, the right, as Andy Carroll wins it now for Reading. Back towards McIntyre, who is a central defender but playing in midfield at the moment due to a lack of numbers elsewhere. Jeff Hendrick among those not involved here tonight. Now the back pass from the veteran Scott Dan towards Joe Lumley, who quickly plays it out wide towards the far side, and Amadou Mbengwe, the young Senegalese player, but it's been given away. And here is Robinson now for Cardiff, wide towards the left again, and O'Dowda lifted towards the far post, but it's aimed towards Sorry Kaba, but it was too close to Lumley, who makes a simple play.
Yeah, Reading not started yet, just a wayward pass into the midfield, snapped upon by Cardiff City player. Callum O'Dowda started, electric on the left hand side. Unfortunately for him and for the home side, his delivery too lofted, and Joe Lumley makes an easy take.
Decent support behind Reading, group behind the goal away to our right hand side, who've made the journey down the M4. Not quite the M4 derby this, is it? I mean, but then again, Dan thinks Brentford against Swansea is the M4 derby. So now Kipra plays it wide to this near side, and Perry NG, who scored that spectacular free kick to open the scoring for Cardiff at Birmingham on Tuesday. Kaba does well to bring it under control on this near side. Tete losing out though to Mbengwe, and Reading had the opportunity to clear long downfield with Guinness Walker up to the halfway line, flicked on by Carroll. A chase down the centre for Aziz, but it's guarded back by NG towards Ryan Allsop, the Cardiff goalkeeper, defending the goal away to our left hand side. 5 minutes played, 0-0, but we've seen already in this game both teams will be looking to get the ball forward very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I think you've got decent mobility in the Cardiff City ranks at the top end of the pitch. Atete is a big physical presence, but he can move as well. Kaba looks to be the same. You've got to be a little bit more pinpoint, I would suggest, when Reading are trying to hit Andy Carroll. There's not going to be the movement maybe that you're going to get from the Cardiff front two, and that's been obvious in the opening few moments, although that was a good little flick from Andy Carroll that sent Aziz on his way.
Keon Atete, only 21 years of age, signed for £500,000 from Spurs, but he did well at first Northampton in League 2 and then Cheltenham in League 1 on loan last season, but only one goal for him so far, as a poor ball is played forward on this near side by Sarr, low across the midfield, straight to Ryan Wintle, and now Philogene just in front of us for Cardiff down their right, into Callum Robinson, back towards Philogene again. Atete and Kaba wait inside the penalty area. Philogene again checks back onto the left foot, lifted towards the header, and it's wide. It was a great opportunity at the far post for Sori Kaba, and he failed to hit the target.
Yeah, you could tell when the ball was travelling. He was perfectly positioned, Kaba, in between right wing back Junior Hoylett and the centre half Sarr. He just doesn't direct it back on the target. He's going a little bit away from the back post. He's stretching somewhat, but I think he can still score from there. There's a bit of contact from the Reading defender just as he makes contact with the ball, but it's a great chance.
Well, Reading have conceded the most headed goals in the Championship so far this season, 14 in total. And maybe we saw the reason there. 3 central defenders, but none of them got anywhere near the Cardiff striker. Now Scott Dan plays it wide towards the far side again, and Mbengwe. And Dan now drives it long. seeking out Carroll, has done well to head the ball down the channel for Guinness Walker, and in the end the flag was raised as Guinness Walker was just nudged in the back by Philogene, and it will be a free kick for Cardiff City. 7 minutes played here at the Cardiff City Stadium on Talksport 2, the home of the EFL. It is Cardiff 0, Reading 0, as the rain continues to sweep down here, and Storm Otto is heading from east to west across the UK, and there was a strong wind blowing around the stadium as well. Horrible conditions for both players and fans alike, as a long ball is played downfield, nodded down by Cabba just behind Atete. And the way both teams have started, Sam, they could almost sell off the middle portion of the pitch as real estate because they're not using it.
Yeah, it's going to be second balls, isn't it?
Get it launched.
Yeah, and the Cardiff front two have started really well. They've won their headers, they've pinned Reading back somewhat, and Philogene probably feels already he's got the beating of Guinness Walker. I think is his closest opponent down on this right hand side.
Now Philogene, and play's been brought back here by Darren Bond for an earlier challenge on Robinson just in front of us, so it will be a Cardiff City free kick, and now they can load the penalty area. Cedric Kipra and Mark McGuinness already moving forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Ryan Wintle is over the free kick, and this will be a test for a team who have been fallible in the air so far this season, and they've also conceded the most goals away from home in the Championship. Wintle with the free kick, rising to nod clear was Andy Carroll, as far as O'Dowda, who brings it down, drives into the penalty area down the left, high cross towards the far post, headed over his own crossbar by Naby Sarr, and Cardiff have the game's first corner.
Great awareness, I think, from O'Dowda. It would have been tempting to take the strike on. Scott Down was the Reading player closing him down, but faked to shoot, took it to his left down the line. It was a really good delivery on that occasion, well defended by Sarr as he stretched underneath his own crossbar.
Wintle is over the corner, but it may be left to Callum O'Dowda, who has been Cardiff's standout player throughout the season, signed from Bristol City. The corner's worked short to Wintle, swept into the box, headed away at the near post, only as far as Philogene, who curls it left-footed, and it was moving as well, but always moving away from goal, and it's a goal kick.
Seen already that equally adept with either side, coming in field, having a delivery a few moments ago, which Cabba possibly should have scored for him, getting a strike away there, Philogene. So, difficult proposition that Guinness Walker is up against this evening, out on this flank.
And Paulin stands there next to Alex Ray on the edge of the Reading technical area. It will be the first anniversary of him taking charge on Sunday. He was interim manager for last season before taking over permanently during the summer. And it's the first time that Paul Ince has got through a year in management at any of his clubs. He's been at 6 clubs, 7 previous spells. He was at MK Dons twice, and it's the first time he's done a year, as Aziz was late there and on G on this near side, and it will be a free kick again for Cardiff on the halfway line. And Perry Ng has been the recipient of some treatment so far, Sam.
He has, and they just look a little bit one-dimensional, Reading. Every ball in towards Carroll, and need to get runners off him, but they also need to try and get the wide players involved in the game. Cardiff have had that to their advantage so far. Both wing-backs have had some nice touches of the ball, a few deliveries into the box, and that's where they've been able to wrestle the early control, I would say. They've got the out ball to the front two, but also the 2 wide players have stamped their early authority on this game.
11 minutes played, 0-0. Kipra with a long ball forward wide to the left-hand side, and he's picked out O'Dowda, and once again he can attack the penalty area beyond Hornet, and the header at the near post from Sarr, glanced towards goal but claimed by Lumley.
Again, wide player, Callum O'Dowda, a bit of a mismatch out there. The ball from Kipre is supreme. It's kind of doesn't get over about 6 feet off the ground. It's absolutely drilled over to O'Dowda, and once again it's a sublime delivery. It's absolutely perfect for Cabba to go and attack. Just unfortunately, from a Cardiff City persuasion, he can't direct it towards one of the corners. It's a comfortable save for Lumley, but wide players getting great success.
And now it's the turn of Reading to try and build on this near side with Guinness Walker. Tries to turn away from Philogene, the youngster who is on loan from Aston Villa. But in the end, it's a throw into Reading on this near side. Don't forget, game day underway on the Talksport network tomorrow at 11 on Talksport. Aston Villa against Arsenal with Rashmin, Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton. Here on Talksport 2, I'll be at the Den for Millwall against Sheffield United alongside David Connolly. And then game day live with Adrian Durham on Talksport. All the goals as they go in. Everton against Leeds with Ian Danta and Mickey Gray will be here on Talksport 2. Guinness Walker loops a long throw into the 6-yard area, flicked on by Carroll again. It'll be recovered by Sarr down the Reading right hand side. He's got support from Hoylett. Sarr though has lost out, and Kipra plays it low towards O'Dowda midway inside the Cardiff half, back towards Kipra again, and another good ball from him wide to this near side, this time to pick out Philogene, headed in field for Sawyers, but the ball just skipping beyond him. And now it's gathered by Mbengwe for Reading on this near side. McIntyre with the ball over the top, looking for the pace of Aziz. He's quick, but not that quick, and it's claimed by Ryan Alsop.
Yeah, terrific little bit of movement. Just skipped off the surface away from Aziz. Thought that he was possibly going to be favourite to get there in front of Alsop, but came to nothing.
That win at Birmingham for Cardiff followed a run of 12 games without a victory. 5 points out of 36 as Philogene chases a ball forward down the right-hand side, but it skids off the very wet playing surface behind for a goal kick. 5 of their 8 wins so far this season have all been by a goal to nil, and that Birmingham game was only the 4th time they've scored more than once in a game, and Cardiff have also failed to score at all in 15 games. So they've rarely given themselves an opportunity to win games, and they've lost plenty, 16, but 7 of those, Sam, have been 1-0. So it's very fine margins, but those margins are really accentuated if you don't score.
Absolutely. They need to just try and build on what they've been able to produce at Birmingham. The early stages here say that they're onto something.
Now an opportunity for Sori Kaba, breaking towards the edge of the penalty area, but a fine recovery challenge from McIntyre. The central defender playing in midfield came back there to judge that very well, and now there's an opportunity for Reading to try and bring it forward with Tyrese Forner. Sweeps it from right to left towards this near side, and Guinness Walker, who already has a muddy smear across the back of his pink Reading shirt. Now Dan, wide towards the far side again. And Forner, who came off the bench to score in the final moments to win the game against Rotherham by 2-1 at the Medeski Stadium on Tuesday, plays it forward, but in the end it breaks down and Cardiff have a throw in. Only 9,492 there in Berkshire on Tuesday night, the lowest crowd of the season. And looking around the Cardiff City Stadium here tonight, barely half full. 16,150 is the lowest crowd of the season here, which came against Blackburn in the autumn, and I would be surprised if they have more than that inside the stadium here tonight. The weather hasn't helped, and of course Cardiff's home form has been pretty miserable recently. Only 3 points in 8 games, which is why they are on their 3rd permanent manager of the season. Steve Morrison and Mark Hudson already dismissed, and Sabri Lamouchi has been given the job of trying to guide them towards survival. Carroll flicks on again, but Mark McGuinness, who spent the first half of the season in League One on loan at Sheffield Wednesday, plays it back towards Ryan Alsop, so McGuinness may yet have a promotion on his CV this season. Atete sees a long ball bounce off his back almost into his path, but Hoylett is there to slide in and clear the ball away for Reading on the far side. Forner is just strong armed by McGuinness on the halfway line, doesn't win the ball back, and now remains Sawyers for Cardiff, a player who has been picked to start all 5 of Sabri Lamouchi's games in charge so far after not starting any of the previous 8, and he's playing in a more central role here for Cardiff than he was previously this season, and that may get the best out of him. Now Kipra on this near side, wide towards Philogene, back towards Kipra again, slid into the penalty area, and a good ball for Atete to strike it, and Lundy did well to get down at the near post and make the save.
Brilliant pass, Kipra, and I don't think He can score from there. The angle's so tight, but he gets perfect purchase on it, and it was the only place it maybe would have crept past Joe Lumley, so great save done to his left.
Now Philogene with a low cross into the penalty area, and it's sliced away on this near side by Sarr, and it will be a throw into Cardiff by the corner flag. 17 minutes played on Talksport 2. Cardiff 0, Reading 0. On the home of the EFL. Now NG for Cardiff again. Back towards Philogene. Now Callum Robinson, 25 yards out. Wide towards the right and NG again, who's playing as a central defender but started life as a winger when he was a youngster at Crewe. And that's how he was signed for Cardiff, deployed as a fullback and now at the heart of their defence. Philogene checks neatly on the near side away from McIntyre. Fires in the cross, high to the far post, nodded down by Cabba, and in the end it was just behind a Tete, and Reading will scramble the ball clear. Now O'Dowda again on the far side, their left, a chance to attack the penalty area, and O'Dowda has been caught by Hoylett. It will be a free kick for Cardiff, much better than a corner down the left-hand side.
Cabba's frustrated with himself. Another good delivery from the right-hand side. They're just slow to get out and engage the Reading wing-backs at the moment. It's McIntyre who finds himself out one-on-one with Philogene. So easy to come in field and supply those two centre-forwards who have started this game in really good fashion. Can't get a firm header, can't get enough contact on it. Ricocheted off a couple of players, maybe actually struck an arm, but O'Dowda recycles on the far side and wins another free kick in a dangerous position for Cardiff.
Nearly 19 minutes played, 0-0 here on Talksport 2. And once again, Cardiff pack the penalty area with height. Ryan Wintle will whip this ball in with the right foot in front of those Reading fans on the far side. And there must be 20 players inside the 6-yard area, and it's Gladstone, and then somehow over the top. Well, that's an extraordinary miss from Sori Cabba. It was flicked on by Robinson. Cabra arriving unmarked, an open goal at the far post, and he put it wide.
It's a perfect set piece, isn't it, really, until the finish, because to get the touch at the near post, maybe coming off a defender inadvertently, but Cabba's arriving right on cue, just got to kind of probably adjust his body position and make sure he can direct the header downwards, high, wide and handsome. But they are rocking, certainly. Reading, last 5 minutes or so, Cardiff really affecting them with their game plan, getting the ball wide, getting it into the box, and almost invariably getting that first touch in the 18-yard area as well.
And there was a Cardiff player down here receiving treatment midway inside the Reading half. I'm not quite sure who it was. Sabri Lamucci's having words with Sol Bamba, who is part of his management team here, Cardiff City legend. And we just received a statement from the PGMOL, and it is that the PGMOL can confirm that the video assistant referee Lee Mason has departed the organisation by mutual consent. Lee was a Premier League referee for 15 years and oversaw 287 top-flight matches during that time, with his last coming during the closing stages of the 2021-22 season. His full career in the professional game saw the 51-year-old officiate in over 500 fixtures after he progressed to the Football League in 1998. We would like to thank Lee for his dedicated service to the professional game and wish him all the best for the future. So, Lee Mason, of course, one of the VAR officials who've been in the news recently, Sam, and he's gone. It's a brutal business.
No, not his decision. I don't know.
Well, mutual consent.
Mutual consent. All right, yeah. But it's certainly made a lot of headlines, hasn't it, the last few days? It's not been a
pleasant time for him, I would imagine. It's not been a
pleasant time. It's not been a great few days for the new technology either that we were supposed to all be on board with to make our lives easier.
Well, the thing with technology is if it's operated by humans, there will still be human error. Maybe fewer human errors, but you're never going to eradicate that unless it's all done by robots. They'll be robots doing our job soon, which is never going to be a good thing, or maybe it will be.
I saw one get a hole in one the other day. That's another story.
Text us if you'd rather this commentary be done by a robot. No, in fact, don't. 21 minutes played.
I think that's been mooted, Nigel, hasn't it, already this season?
Absolutely. 0-0 between Cardiff and Reading. Of course, Lee Mason was involved in that match between Arsenal and Brentford as the VAR when the goal was given to Brentford, and he has now left his post. So we'll see how that plays out. 22 minutes played here as Carroll flicks on into the penalty area, and it's gathered at the near post by Ryan Alsop. And the fact we're talking about Lee Mason's departure tells you that there's not a huge amount happening on the field at the moment, and Cardiff have seen their rhythm disrupted by that injury.
Yeah, it's probably a good moment for a little break in play, because Cardiff have been knocking on the door. Certainly been impressed with them, actually. They're playing with, you know, a bit of energy, a bit of vigour, and Reading should be having more control of the game, I think, in terms of the setup. Essentially there's a bit of a 3v2 going on in midfield, but Sawyers and Wintle controlling the tempo if the ball is being played through midfield.
Carroll flicks on again, and here is Aziz on the right hand side of the penalty area for Reading, back towards Hoylett, swirled in McIntyre with a looping header. It's over the top, but it's the first real opportunity for Reading, and yet again it came from Andy Carroll's prowess in the air.
Yeah, and it also means, I think, that when the ball comes in from wide, there's such an onus on Andy Carroll. There's a determination from him, obviously, to get his head on the ball, but I think McIntyre is well placed there and probably put off by his own player. It's a bit lofted, the delivery. It would have had to be a spectacular header from McIntyre, and he can't direct it onto the target.
Cleared downfield by Ryan Alsop, one of the players in the EFL who was featured in all 4 senior divisions during his career, most recently with Derby County before making the move to South Wales, where the rain continues to tumble down here, and the Cardiff fans have seen their team pick up the fewest points, wins and goals at this stage of a championship season, and also the fewest number of goals they've scored in the entirety of their league history after 32 games, which just tells you where their problems have been. Defensively, at times they've been okay, but Sabri Lamucci has clearly believed they need to be more solid with 3 at the back, and they've got players like Callum Robinson who could deliver further forward. He plays it wide towards O'Dowda, the cross into the penalty area, and it's into the arms of Lumley.
Yeah, poor delivery, but I would suggest exactly what Sabri Lamucci wants from his side, and in particular Callum Robinson. I just spoke about that kind of 3v2 that Reading should have in their advantage in the midfield, because Callum Robinson's playing quite high and up there with the front 2 there. He pulled wide on the left hand side and is completely unopposed, well found by a teammate, and then they're in business once he can get turned. So I think there's a bit more unpredictability probably about Cardiff's setup, a bit more flexibility, playing between lines, and yeah, that's been showcased there by Callum Robinson. And once more O'Dowda, free as a bird, left hand side, just couldn't get his delivery right.
Nesta Guinness-Walker will take a throw-in for Reading on this near side, signed from AFC Wimbledon, but I remember seeing him playing for the Metropolitan Police in the FA Cup only a few years ago. Goes all the way back towards Scott Dan. And now Amadou Mbengwe, of course. Reading still operating under a transfer embargo. All of their transfers this season were either frees or loans. And Paul Ince was saying this week that he's not sure when the transfer embargo will be lifted. Flicked on by Carroll again. Almost gathered by Aziz, and it's a good-looking combination if they play the delivery right, because Carroll's winning everything in the air. But here is Callum Robinson now at the other end. Atete was pulled back there by Scott Dan, who was the wrong side of him, and Dan will be booked as Cardiff have a free kick 25 yards from goal.
I think that's a bit generous, because he's never going to get to the pass. That said, there probably is a little bit of contact, maybe not enough for him to fall to the turf. Again, Robinson, acres of space, good play from Cardiff City. There's a covering defender there as well. I think that's a fortunate award, and if this ends in a goal, I imagine Paul Ince won't be happy away to our left.
Well, Scott Dan will have to manage that yellow card for some time. 26 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Reading 0, Cardiff 0, and a free kick for Cardiff City.
Lightning doesn't strike twice in the space of 3 days.
You don't think Perry Ng is going to curl it into the top corner?
didn't he say he hit one in training the day before the Birmingham game and it went in the top corner, so this will be 3 on the spin.
Well, it was a spectacular goal from a team which hasn't been scoring goals of any description. But NG, who produced that moment of spectacular quality at St Andrews, he'll try again here. He hits it right-footed over the wall and just wide. It skimmed the roof of the netting, and lightning almost did strike twice for Perry NG.
Oh, it's almightily close, isn't it? Yeah, just into the side netting. Lumley's not going to get there. It's almost perfect. He's perfected that technique, hasn't he? Great effort.
And he's been watching the David Beckham videos. And Perry NG giving something for the Cardiff crowd to get excited about. As Carroll now flicks on at the other end, Aziz will chase again. Kipra's back pass to Allsop, who has to clear downfield. Now McIntyre, wide towards Carroll again. Challenged by Philogene. Reading want a free kick, but nothing given. Philogene finding Robinson, who tangles with Loom, and in the end, Reading almost win it back, but here is a Tete for Cardiff, all the way back to Kipra. And now Allsop goes long again. Philogene will chase on this near side. Now Bissar gets there first, and he slips as he clears, but he's done well to get some distance. But then Atete has been hauled down by McIntyre, and it will be a free kick for Cardiff down their right-hand side, midway inside the Reading half.
Yeah, Sarr just needed to go a little bit longer there. He'd one possession down on the near side, but only passed it to a Cardiff City player. They're just sharper all over the pitch right now. It's a difficult 10-15 minute spell for Reading that they need to try and weather without Cardiff City getting their nose in front, which they probably deserve to be.
Free kick on this near side for Cardiff City once again. Ryan Wintle is over it. Robinson comes short, but it's beyond him. Flicked on towards Atete, and it drops to Robinson with his back to goal. Tries to find Philogene, but it's cut out by Aziz. His clearance hits the backside of Philogene and will eventually bobble behind for a goal kick. And again, Cardiff City have moments of promise, but they come to nothing. 29 minutes played. We welcome listeners from Talksport to the Cardiff City Stadium in the wind and rain, where it's Cardiff City 0, Reading 0. The home side have been much the better so far in terms of chances created. We've just seen a free kick from Perry NG, curled just wide from 25 yards. We've seen a header over the top from Sori Kaba from very close range when he should have scored. Another centre forward, Sam Parkin, is alongside me. Same old story for Cardiff. Moments of promise, but no goals.
Yeah, I've been impressed with them overall. Just that lack of cutting edge is still evident. That said, there's a bit of rotation in their side today. Callum Robinson with a bit of a free role, playing as a 10, something a little bit different for him, and I think he's probably done enough for Sabri Lamouchi to warrant his inclusion in that role. So they've been by far the better side. Reading looking disjointed, a little bit defensive in terms of their lineup. Tom Ince on the bench, that's something that I'll be interested to find out later why that maybe games in close proximity has led his dad to leave him out tonight, but I'm sure he'll be introduced at some point in the second half and improve their chance of getting a goal.
Andy Carroll wins another ball in the air, but it just skips beyond Aziz and behind for a goal kick. And briefly, Carroll's winning absolutely everything, and if they can just get the right service towards him, I think that's how Reading will score in this game.
Yeah, and he'd be confident after obviously scoring and assisting during the week. He just hasn't got a lot of support around him. Aziz has had some good appearances off the bench recently, but he's not been able to impact the game thus far. So yeah, yet to get going as an attacking force, but they'll be pleased to have got through the first half an hour without conceding. 31 minutes played. Commentary continues on Talksport 2. So far it's been a good example of getting it launched. It's Reading 0, Cardiff 0. Philogene with the ball into the penalty area, cleared away up towards the halfway line, then quickly returned by McGuinness over the top for Cardiff, and once again it's overhit and behind for a goal kick. And if you've got someone like Callum Robinson there, he doesn't want to be seeing balls go over his head, turn and chase. You've got to get the ball into him, haven't you? You do, but you know, I think there's been a degree of variety about their play. It's not all been one-dimensional from Cardiff City. I think once the game gets a little bit open after the early sparring, you can start playing balls into Callum Robinson, and that's when they've looked like a decent outfit in this first half. They probably should be in front, and I think the supporters have seen enough to get behind their side and be confident that there's 3 points there for them.
Cedric Kipper is closed down by McIntyre inside the penalty area, and it spins high into the air and behind for a goal kick. Of course, he is a central defender, Tom McIntyre, as we've been saying, but playing at the heart of midfield, and that's a completely different role, isn't it? Because if you're a central defender, you've got other people who can be your eyes and ears. If it's midfield, it's your job.
Yeah, I'm looking at that midfield trio at the moment, and who's going to get on the ball and orchestrate a little bit for Reading? Forner probably would be the one out of the three, but they haven't shown anything really on the ball. They haven't shown any control in their possession play. They're giving it away, and it is just that one-dimensional option to go towards Andy Carroll and hope that a flick will go into the path of Aziz. So I am really surprised. Now I've seen it play out, there's room for Tom Ince in that side, certainly, to give them a bit more craft and a bit more attacking threat in the midfield.
Atete is penalised for handball as he chases a long ball forward on the far side. He leaves a Reading player down, sprawled on the turf in his wake. He brought the ball down initially, and I think it just skipped up onto his hand as he challenged Junior Hoylett, and Hoylett has gone down just in front of the Reading fans, and he may require some treatment here. Darren Bond is just lingering before calling on the medical team, with 33 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Cardiff 0, Reading 0, the scoreline here. And you're listening to this game on the EFL, live on Talksport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. And Hoylett is back on his feet. One of a number of players whose shirt is now splattered with mud due to the playing conditions here.
I mean, he's hardly had a kick, has he, as an attacking threat for Reading. I think that emphasises the control that Cardiff have had in this first half, and the lack of threat from the visiting side. Guinness Walker on the ball now, but those two have just been defending time and time again up against their opposition player.
Well, Cardiff have had 62% possession so far, 6 efforts on goal, 2 on target. Reading have had 1 effort on goal, the header for McIntyre, which was off target, but Cardiff have developed a style briefly under Lamucci where they've not really had the ball, but it's a different story for them here tonight against a team who don't really want the ball.
No, and I think the narrative was set a little bit when I heard Paul Ince's comments coming into this game and seeing the lineup. They're here to spoil a little bit and hopefully nick something, and I think there has to be a little bit more adventure about them. Playing against a side Cardiff have been so woeful at home, to go with a centre-back in defensive midfield, have a couple of players in there who haven't really got a great deal of creativity amongst them. Back 5, it screams of a side that are hoping to escape from Wales with a point tonight, and that's probably not quite enough for the Reading supporters that have travelled in their numbers. They want to see a little bit more attacking threat.
Well, their away record is woeful. 3 wins, 2 draws and 11 defeats, with 11 goals scored in 16 games. 30 of their 41 points have come at home so far this season. Only the top 2, Burnley and Sheffield United, have a better home record, so it must be a frustration maybe for the fans that if they'd just been bang average away from home, they'd be in the top 6. But now they've given the ball away, tried to play out. Here is Atete into the penalty area, right-hand side. The cross in almost falls to Robinson, but it scoots behind him on the very wet playing surface. The player in front of him, and Bengwe, slipped, which may have put Robinson off, and in the end, all Cardiff have is a throw-in on the far side. Yeah,
possibly the conditions playing a part, maybe for the first time. It's a wayward ball, and then Scott Dann probably has to do better. He's shown a bit of a clean pair of heels, and then it's a comedy of errors, isn't it? Mugengwe losing his footing. Callum Robinson can't collect the ball on the far post, but back they come.
Here was an opportunity once again for Cardiff into the penalty area, and that's a late challenge on the far side, and Amadou Mugengwe has gone down, and it was Mark McGuinness, the central defender, who was careering into the penalty area, and he lunged in there. The ball had gone, and Darren Bond will have a word. He's surrounded by players from both sides. Darren Bond is comfortably the smallest person on the pitch in that grouping, and it will be a yellow card for Mark McGuinness.
Well, I'll have to see it back to be certain, but I think he's a lucky boy, Nigel, and I think it is the conditions, obviously, that leads itself to sliding in. It's reckless, it looks high, I'm not sure how much contact there was, but he'll snap the referee's hand off for a yellow card at this point, because that could quite easily be a red on first viewing.
Well, he's having words with Darren Bond, and he's pleading his case, Mark McGuinness, but it is a yellow card. Andy Carroll is also having a say. We're watching the replay here. Oh dear, that's a red card challenge.
It's a red. Still not conclusive how much he gets at the player, but the action itself is high, stud showing, it's a red.
I think the fact that Mbengwe was off the ground maybe helped him out. Mbengwe tumbled over the challenge, but if we had VAR here, then McGuinness will be on his way.
Yeah, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the conditions, but I don't think it plays too much of a part. The slide afterwards obviously does.
He slid after the challenge, he didn't slide into the challenge, did he?
Correct, yeah. The distance between him and the player isn't too great when he actually makes the attempt to go in for the challenge, and he'd be very, very fortunate if he's not injured here and have to go off early, because that's a bad one.
Well, Amadou Mbengwe is receiving treatment at the moment, and I think he's maybe slightly fortunate that he wasn't caught with more force there, but that's really nothing to do with Mark McGuinness, because Mbengwe is hobbling away and he looks to be in some real trouble here. He's trying to run it off. There's one or two Reading fans around that area of the stadium make their feelings known. A number of them also heading downstairs with 6 minutes to go in the first half, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't see Mbengwe for the second half.
No, and I'm not too sure of the wording, but isn't it out of control, the force that you go with? It seems
reckless.
To tick the boxes of all the criteria, doesn't it? It was a poor challenge. I'll try to...
Well, Paul Ince is furious. He's having words with
I'd have seen
Andy
it back.
Warner, the fourth official.
Yeah, I'd have watched it back down there straight away. There's a screen. I think it's Tony Warner, the goalkeeping coach, has got a screen in front of him, so I'd have seen it straight away.
I think they're making a change here as well.
It could obviously come back to bite them.
Well, he's back on the field of play, and the Cardiff fans aren't too happy with that, as McIntyre looks to break forward now, but he's lost out to Atete, but Forner comes in with the challenge, and now it's wide towards the far side again, and Hoylett, Aziz on the edge of the penalty area for Reading, looks to spin and plays it wide to the right again. The early cross towards the far post, headed up in the air by Philogene. It's gathered by Guinness Walker, an air shot from him as he tried to cross in from the left-hand side. Guinness Walker again loses out to Philogene. On this occasion, he turns and he's got support, and Ng will clear up towards the halfway line where the ball ricochets off Sabi Kaba out of play. It will be a throw-in for Reading. And we're looking at Mbengwe, who is still hobbling around a bit, but is still at the heart of the Reading defence at the moment. Now Kaba back towards Philogene. He rather sells Ng short, and G has to spin away from the challenge of Carroll, runs it out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Reading midway inside the Cardiff half. But we've 4 minutes to play in the first half, and the rather soporific atmosphere inside the stadium tells the story, but Cardiff haven't looked like a team who are currently on the verge of the relegation zone.
No, it looks like they've got clear identity now, some good attacking patterns in the first half, mainly through the two wide guys who have had decent halves, but this has been a bit of pressure that Reading have been able to build at the end of the first half, mainly because Philogene didn't clear his lines on the far post, got his team into a little bit of trouble. I don't probably want to see him there too often defending the far post. He's been good going forwards, but there's been a bit of a vast contrast between the two sides, I would say. There's zero attacking patterns in regard to Reading. It's been play up to Andy Carroll and hope, bit of movement from Aziz, bit of pace, bit of youthfulness, but nothing to suggest that they're going to create many chances.
But now Aziz is able to turn again and find Forner down the right-hand side. Hoylett is providing the width, the former Cardiff player, but he's spinning in field away from O'Dowda, but O'Dowda follows him, so there could be room for Cardiff out on their right, but in the end, Sarr has it for Reading and plays it towards this near side, and Guinness Walker. And then Sarr will go all the way back to Scott Dan. Dan's got time to turn and plays it in towards Mamadou Loam. And then Guinness Walker again, and you can see why Reading have played 3 games away from home in the calendar year, haven't scored in any of them and have lost a lot.
The best bit of football there. Guinness Walker turned inside Cardiff's half. He had 2 runners, turned back, and it's been a good little spell of possession, but 0 thrust to it, but much better from them.
High again towards the edge of the penalty area, headed away by Kipra, only as far as Hoylett. He's got support from Tyrese Forner again, who is on loan from Nottingham Forest, into the penalty area looking for Aziz, but it's broken up by the home side. Robinson now with the ball over the top, and it's a long ball as well for Cabba to chase down the right hand side. Atete waits inside the penalty area, supported by Philogene. Sorry, Cabba continues, lays it back towards Sawyers. And now Robinson checks onto the right foot, strikes it low, and it spins away off and Bengwe behind for a corner with 2 minutes to play in the first half on Talksport 2.
Yeah, there's that mobility again from the front players. Lovely raking ball from Callum Robinson. The sting went out of the attack a little bit once Cabba turned infield, but Robinson, good little ball manipulation, edge of the box and getting the strike away. It's a little bit of pressure at the other end just as we approach half-time.
And we've more Championship action on Talksport 2 on Monday night. Big game as well, Watford against West Brom, with Dan, Jim Proudfoot and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. 8 o'clock kickoff at Vicarage Road. Corner kick here for Cardiff, which Wintle will take. Plays it short again towards Sawyers. It's spun out towards the edge of the penalty area, looking for O'Dowda, but his first touch was heavy, and Reading will clear. And now they can break over the halfway line with Aziz all on his own, but he's very quick, driven wide to the far side by Wintle, who does well to come back, make the challenge and win the ball.
Yeah, risky strategy from Cardiff, just left a 1v1 there, but well done Ryan Wintle getting back goal side.
Now O'Dowda again, away from Mbengwe. The cross into the penalty area is blocked, and it will be a throw into Cardiff City by the corner flag with 30 seconds of normal time to play in the first half, and it's goalless here on Talksport 2. In towards Robinson. O'Dowda holds his run to stay onside. Now he can deliver the cross into the penalty area, and it's flicked away by Mbengwe. And the whistle has gone, and in fact the whistle didn't go, but it will be a throw-in on this near side to Cardiff City. And G will take it as the rain begins to blow into our faces here, sat at the back of the lower tier in the main stand. Philogene on this near side, but it's lost out to Guinness Walker, and there'll be a minimum of 3 more minutes at the end of the first half. Cowell's ball forward is brought under control by Kipra, who slides it down the channel looking for Philogene, but it's quickly cut out by Sarr. And here is Andy Carroll with that rather scruffy ponytail again. Plays a very deliberate ball straight out of play on this near side.
Yeah, he's bemoaning the lack of movement there, but there was definitely a couple of players in advanced positions he could have tried to work the ball into, passing it into touch and giving the onus back to the home side.
Now McGuinness for Cardiff City again, finding Callum Robinson. And Sabri Lamucci, I think, will be disappointed his team aren't ahead in this game, because they'd made virtually all of the running. Now Philogene again. And Cabra has been held up by Sarr, but Cardiff will have a throw-in. Philogene will take it. Looked like a foul throw, to be honest, and Sarr has now got away from Guinness Walker, but he fouled him according to the assistant on this near side, and it will be a free kick, although Sarr has a smile on his face, or rather Cabba has a smile on his face, but disagrees.
Yeah, it was a mess, wasn't it? It was a foul throw from Philogene, and then just too overly physical. Cabba with Guinness Walker, so definitely the right award.
Andy Carroll has continued to have a dialogue with Darren Bond, the referee, throughout the first half. Of course, he's the Reading captain, so he's entitled to have a word, but at times he does seem to be keen to referee the game as well. Kipra lumps it over the top, almost found Robinson, but it hits Mbengwe in the back of the head. Breaks back towards Robinson, wide towards this near side. Cabba checks back inside the penalty area, sends two Reading players skidding away from the challenge. Now a back heel from Philogene, looking for Sawyers. It breaks towards Cabba. Cabba with the right foot shot, which took a deflection. It goes behind for a corner.
Yeah, good decision, I think. Ball sat down nicely for him, just tried to fire it towards that far post. Deflection could have gone anywhere.
Taken quickly by Robinson, back towards Robinson, the cross to the near post, a missed kick from Mbengwe, and it's scrambled clear by McIntyre. And now Aziz will try and bring the ball under control, but he's challenged by Wintle, and Cardiff City have the ball back again. There may be time to get this ball forward one more time in the first half. Kipra has got a Tete making the run on the shoulder of Mbengwe, but instead it's short towards Robinson again. And that is half-time. And there is polite applause from the Cardiff fans, because there's no doubt their team have been in the ascendancy. Sori Cabba heading over an open goal, one of their best opportunities. Perry NG also going close with a free kick. Reading have looked like a team, we have to say, with only 3 wins in 16 games away from home so far this season. Half-time, it is Cardiff City 0, Reading 0. Thank you, Dan. And both teams are out for the second half. There don't look to be any changes from either side at the moment. So here are the two teams for you once again in this game. Cardiff City, Allsop in goal, Unji, McGuinness and Kipra the back three, O'Dowda, Sawyers, Wintle and Philogene across midfield, Robinson, Cabba and Atete in attack. The Reading team, Lumley in goal, and Mbengwe, Dad and Sarr their back three, Hoylett and Guinness Walker the wing backs, McIntyre, Forner and Laum in midfield, Aziz and Carroll up front. Cardiff had 17 crosses in the first half, Sam Parkett. How many of them were good enough?
3 or 4 maybe, if I'm being kind. Enough for them to be ahead in this game, I would say. And they need to keep doing it. They've got the physical threat at the top of the pitch. It would be a miss to not put balls in there. Reading haven't done it, and they've got one of the best exponents of the header in the Championship, the best probably, if you get the service right, in Andy Carroll. So yeah, Cardiff have certainly got an avenue, putting balls in from wide, and yeah, I expect them to continue in that vein. It's whether they've got the finishing, whether they've got the cutting edge, whether they've got the quality in the big moments. Throughout the season they haven't. They need someone to step up in the second half.
Well, Reading have given the ball away straight from the kick-off, and here is a burst into the penalty area from Sori Cabba, but he's just bumped off it inside the box and it's gone behind, and it will be a goal kick once again to Reading, who are defending the Canton stand away to our left-hand side in their light pink shirts, black shorts and pink socks. Cardiff City wearing all blue. And this has been a real test of loyalty for the supporters here tonight. The weather conditions are absolutely miserable as the ball is played forward again for Reading, nodded down by Andy Carroll, and now controlled by McIntyre, who plays it down the line, but it's blocked by Sawyers. Quickly on to Cabba, who's allowed to turn, and he twists and turns away from the challenge of Naby Sarr on the far side. Back to Philogene, in again to Atete, who tries to drive down the line for Cardiff City, and he's got support from Philogene again, and Romain Sawyers is looking to try and influence the game in the central area, but at times he has been rather bypassed as the cross is driven in by NG, hits McIntyre on the back, and it goes out for a throw-in on the far side for Cardiff City. And Romain Sawyers looked like a top Premier League player in waiting when he was at Brentford a few years ago. Of course, went to West Bromwich Albion, never really happened for him there once again, but Cardiff are not really getting the best out of him, are they?
No, he's always divided opinion, even going back to his Walsall days, because of that languid style, and played more as a 10 at Brentford, if memory serves me right, under Dean Smith. So this has come a little bit later in his career, coming deeper, being the orchestrator in midfield. Sabri Lamouchi certainly sees him as that kind of fulcrum who can get on the ball off the back three and dictate proceedings, but that probably negates his goal scoring, his creative spark somewhat.
But Cardiff have won a corner on the far side, launched into the penalty area and headed behind by Callum Robinson, who was off balance. As a result, the header was off target, and it will be a goal kick for Reading, and I think they would take a point here. And if Cardiff don't win this game, it would be their longest spell without a home victory, 9 games since 1981.
That's it, isn't it, Nigel? You're sitting here a goalless draw away from home, considering the position that Reading is in. You take that on the face of it, but I just think it's the lack of ambition. If it was to finish like this, that would be the big takeaway for the Reading supporters. And like I said, I don't think Paul Ince necessarily listens to that, and the owners potentially don't as well, Mark Bowen, so on and so forth. But the fans that are paying week in, week out and travelling, they want to see a little bit more ambition, surely. And I think you look at the bench today, Meite, Tom Ince, 2 obvious game changers that if they want to go and win this game, it's there for them, because the longer that Cardiff go without getting a goal, they'll get edgy. What that would have done for Cardiff City in the first half, to race into a 2-goal lead or whatever, or score early, this place would have been up, considering the midweek result. They haven't got it, and I think that belief probably dwindles out of the escapes from the Cardiff City players, who would have come into tonight confident. Not so much anymore.
3 minutes into the second half, and Reading have been awarded a free kick on the far side. Guinness Walker was caught by Philogene, and this is an opportunity to get some bodies into the penalty area. Tyrese Forner is over this, scored the winning goal on Tuesday night. Andy Carroll will be one of the principal targets. Is launched in towards Carroll at the far post, but McGuinness does well to rise and head the ball away. Philogene has rather sold a Tete short with a header back to him, and the ball drifts out of play on this near side, and it will be a throw into Reading by the corner flag. And Mamadou Mbengwe, who was the recipient of the challenge from Mark McGuinness, which earned a yellow card in the first half. We felt it should have been a red, but he seems to be okay to carry on. And he will take the throw-in. Looped high into the penalty area once again. It's allowed to bounce across the face of goal. Challenging for it at the far post was Naby Sarr, and in the end it is scrambled behind via a Cardiff touch, and Reading have a corner.
Yeah, not sure McGuinness knew that Sarr was just behind him, flinging himself at it. They actually came together a little bit earlier on in the move, when the ball's flicked across the 6-yard box, but just swung a leg at it, McGuinness, and thankfully for Cardiff he did, cleared their lines.
Femi Aziz will take the corner kick for Reading on this near side, and it will be an in-swinger, driven high towards the far post, beyond Carroll. Appeals for another corner, but a goal kick's being given.
It's a really good ball, actually. It's whipped kind of with so much pace that almost takes the 2 attackers on the far post, Sarr and Carroll it is, by a little bit of surprise. Sawyers is stretching, trying to get something on it, but just swings away to safety.
And this Paul Ince, his 250th game as a manager. Of course, he did have success with MK Dons, promotion and a win at Wembley in the EFL Trophy. Never really happened for him higher up the pyramid, including that time with Blackburn in the Premier League. Now a Tete on the edge of the penalty area, but Mbengwe clears, but it's only as far as Philogene, who fires the ball in from the right-hand side of the penalty area and high over the top.
Just percentage football again. Sarr makes a mess of the header. They're able to recycle the ball between them, the 2 centre forwards. Mbengwe, really poor intended clearance straight to Philogene, and that kind of sums up the end product, doesn't it, for both sides so far tonight. Philogene, good position, miles over the top of the crossbar. 51
minutes played here on Talksport 2, the home of the EFL. It is Cardiff 0, Reading 0 here at the Cardiff City Stadium on a filthy night, as Kipra clears the ball away again for Cardiff on the edge of the penalty area. But Reading have made marginally a better start to the second half than they managed for much of the first, and they have another free kick here, and it's Mamadou Loam who has been fouled 15 yards inside the Cardiff half, caught by Keon Atete, and they can load that penalty area once again. And I think the way that Reading play and the way they're set up, some set pieces look to be the only way they'll score in this game.
At the moment, yeah, absolutely. I think that could change as the game wears on, with changes from the bench, but right now this is their best threat.
Aziz with the free kick high into the penalty area. Everybody ducks out, hits the corner flag on this near side, goes out of play, and it will be a Reading throw-in. So that would have been a corner, but it bounced the right way from Cardiff's point of view. And Amadou Mbengwe will come across to take this once again. One of a number of young players in this Reading team. They rely on the experience of players like Scott Dan and Andy Carroll, both well into their mid-30s. And then Mbengwe with a long run-up and a flatter throw this time, looking for Carroll at the near post. And it's headed behind by the Cardiff striker, Sori Kaba, and it will be a corner kick for Reading, and they are on top of the game in this game at the moment.
They are. It was a poor throw, wasn't it? It was too flat, didn't even really reach the 6-yard box. The front of the 6-yard box had to be dealt with by Cabell with Andy Carroll lurking.
Aziz with the delivery, high to the far post. Carroll was shaping for it, but coming in front of him, it's a header over the top from Mamadou Loam, and had he left that, I think Carroll would have scored.
Yeah, absolutely. He's perfectly placed, isn't he, to get a header certainly onto the target, around the penalty spot. Loam's almost behind him, actually, just takes it off the head of Andy Carroll. Yeah, it's completely unmarked. Kipre not close enough to Carroll to stop the header that was going to come.
53 minutes played, 0-0. Game day back on Talksport tomorrow at 11 a.m. live from Villa Park, with all the build-up to Aston Villa against Arsenal at 12:30 with Reshman Chowdhury, Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton. I'll be alongside David Connolly at the Den here on Talksport 2 for Millwall against Sheffield United. Big game, that one, in the Championship. Game day live with Adrian Durham, with all the goals as they go in, live from Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea play Southampton. Everton against Leeds will be here on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock with Ian Danta and Mickey Gray. Massive game at the bottom of the Premier League. England women play Italy in the Arnold Clark Cup on Talksport. 3:15 on Sunday as Sawyers fires a shot high over the top. Your commentary team at that one will be Joe Shannon and Lucy Ward. Watford against West Brom here on Talksport 2 on Monday in the Championship with Jim Proudfoot and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. And then on Tuesday night we have Papa John's Trophy semi-final action, a West Country derby, Plymouth against Cheltenham. They'll be around the grounds on Talksport. Big night in the Champions League and the EFL. Liverpool against Real Madrid, one of the feature games on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday we have Leipzig against Manchester City on Talksport at 8 o'clock. 7:45 on Talksport 2 for another game from the Arnold Clark Cup, England against Belgium. 10 minutes into the second half here at the Cardiff City Stadium, and it is very much 0-0. Here is Kipre for Cardiff on the edge of his own penalty area, wide towards McGuinness. Now O'Dowda again. And there are undoubtedly good players in this Cardiff team, but they just need a focal point. They just need some confidence, which maybe a couple of goals would give them. They, of course, had the late victory, the impetus that gave them from the Birmingham game, but they've so far not been able to capitalise. But here is Sawyers, wide towards the far side, and Kaba, but Kaba unable to pick out a teammate, and Reading now will try and bring the ball forward themselves now with Hoylett, but he just checks back and goes all the way back towards his own goal and Joe Lumley. And we talk about Cardiff pressure and chances, Sam, but how many saves has Joe Lumley had to make?
Yeah, that's definitely a criticism. I think that's Conor Wickham getting ready to our left, is it? I think it's perfectly set up for him, I really do. Nigel, having joined, impacted the game in midweek, it's like for like in terms of who he's going to be replacing if he comes on for one of the strikers. Been scoring goals this season, home debut made for him, because they've not started this second half at all. Reading far and away more competent since the break. Nothing's changed in terms of the shape, they've just been more determined. Loam looks to be in the vicinity of Callum Robinson, a little bit tighter start of the second half, so stopping his involvement.
Hoylett wide towards Mbengwe on this near side, has Forner in support, but it's cut out by Wintle. Wintle clears it down the line. Cabot brings it under control, but then gives the ball away to Hoylett. And now Forner once again, and now Mbengwe just in front of us. The challenge comes in from O'Dowda, but the final touch was off the Cardiff man, and it will be a throw-in. And Reading once again can send the big men forward. And Connor Wickham, who spent the first half of the season on a short-term deal with Forest Green Rovers right at the bottom of League One, now finds himself in the relegation battle in the Championship. The player has been so unlucky with injuries over many years, but still only 29 years of age.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's got to be the way, hasn't it? Just taking a couple of steps back to reinvigorate your confidence, get that fitness back, and it's proved to be a really fruitful move for him. So hopefully he can get back going at the higher level. There's no doubt in his quality. It's just remaining fit and probably been able to have that little bit of mobility that he had early part of his career. See if he can regain that in the next couple of seasons, but the quality's definitely there, and I think that's a sensible change there, because the two centre forwards haven't started this half particularly well at all.
Wintle with the ball over the top, looking for Atete, and it's cleared away by Lumley. Highest tonight so far. When it comes down, and G slips as he tries to clear, but Tyrese Fornah, in fact it was Femi Aziz, was offside as he challenged for the ball, and it will be a free kick to Cardiff anyway.
I'm surprised that NG went to try and head that ball there, to try and take it down, rather than head it. Came to nothing in the end anyway, because Aziz had gone slightly early. I think that was cue for Paul Ince and Alex Ray to start readying some substitutes.
Yeah, Yaku Mete will be on shortly. So Sori Kaba off and Connor Wickham on, so Wickham will be the main striker, with Atete sort of peeling away to the left and Callum Robinson down the right. Wickham now looking to move forward again, but it's headed away by Dan. But then the ball in field is cut out by Atete. Wintle clips it wide to the far side. Philogene heads the ball in field, and it's dealt with well by Naby Sarr to bring the ball under control, but McIntyre unable to keep the ball in play on the far side, and it will be a throw into Cardiff, taken quickly. Here is Romain Sawyers, back towards Wintle, 25 yards out. Callum Robinson checks back in field onto his right foot, high into the penalty area. Nesta Walker rising to head the ball away. Wintle again, and now on G. Wintle goes back towards McGuinness. Maybe lucky to be on the field after that challenge on Mbengwe in the first half. Robinson, now Wintle again. And maybe Cardiff just need to move the ball a bit quicker, because they've given Reading the opportunity to get organised and get behind the ball here. But here is Sawyers again. O'Dowda makes the run down the left to create the angle for the ball forward. It's flicked on by Wickham, but it wasn't read by Atete, and it's into the arms of Lumley.
Not the worst idea. The ball should have gone forward a little bit sooner. I think Wintle had an opportunity to play into the front, and Sawyers earlier on in that move. It's just too passive, as you say, a little bit side to side, and that gives Reading the opportunity to get back into their shape. But Connor Wickham, nothing wrong with that, looking to combine with Atete and make something happen edge of the box.
Long again from Reading, and the loose ball was brought down by Guinness Walker, and Reading are getting closer to a number of the second balls now. When they do smash it long and Cardiff clear, it's usually falling to a Reading shirt now. With an hour played on Talksport 2, Yaku Mete still waiting to come on just in front of us, the Ivorian international. Here is McIntyre now on the far side, tries to take on NG, but NG read the intention and it's out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Reading. And here is the change, and it's Femi Aziz who goes off.
Yeah, he's been quiet, hasn't he? I think I spoke of his youthful exuberance in the first half, in that he was trying to get beyond Carroll and make a few darts forward, but Mete certainly has the experience and the nous probably to play that position, probably as a more orthodox centre forward alongside Carroll. So we'll see if that has much of an impact. But I can understand why they play so long, Nigel, because they haven't got the craft, have they? They haven't got the ball players in the middle of the pitch or at centre half.
You can play it long if it goes back into the midfield, and then there's someone to do something special.
Let's be frank about it. I mean, Scott Dan can play a little bit, but the two either side of him, their distribution has been really poor. Sarr has just presented it to Cardiff on quite a few occasions in both halves, so we're definitely missing a little bit of a ball manipulator in the midfield.
Now Wickham almost plays it through towards Robinson. It may have struck him on the heel, but it breaks kindly for Cardiff. Here is Philogene now on the far side, comes back in field to Sawyers. A high ball over the top, looking for O'Dowda, but it's not clear by Hoylett, and it will be a throw into Cardiff on this near side. 62 minutes played on Talksport 2, 0-0 at the Cardiff City Stadium. If it stays like this, Cardiff will inch 3 points clear of the relegation zone, but all of the teams around them will have 2 games in hand, including the ones coming up tomorrow. So it's a game that Cardiff really need to win against the poorest away team in the Championship this season. As a low ball is fizzed into the penalty area, deflected behind by Sarr for a corner.
Yeah, so Tete makes the dart across the near post, but yeah, it's Sarr, isn't it? Could have gone anywhere. I think it may struck Joe Lumley's outstretched leg at the near post, or it came off his glove actually, and then just kissed the outside of the post. It's a let-off, quite easily could have been an own goal.
Cardiff fans look to increase the volume again as the wind picks up. The corner from Wintle, high towards the far post, nodded down by Kipra, and it deflects away towards McGuinness, and Horner took a chance there because he was just pulling back the shoulder of McGuinness inside the penalty area as he tried to get round him, and eventually he did to clear the ball away. And there will be another change very soon for Reading. Tom Ince is putting on his skin-tight Reading away shirt now.
Yeah, there's plenty of power behind that header from Kipra, just deflected I think at source and took it away from the Reading goal, but a decent spell once more for the home side. They just need an opportunity to fall for Wickham, I think. Player that's just been introduced should be confident after the first half of the season. You want to start well at your new club, and especially in front of the home fans, and doesn't seem to be a lot of confidence in the rest of the offensive players right now. Let's see if he can be the one to get their nose in front.
Yeah, 6 goals in 16 games for Connor Wickham, which was a pretty good return in a team at the bottom of League One. Now Sawyers, high over the top, looking for a Tete inside the penalty area down the left, and he's got support from Wickham. Wickham plays it down the line, looking for O'Dowda, but it's quickly cut out. The Cardiff now win it back, and now Wintle. Good spell for the home side once again, and G wide towards Philogene, who will attack the penalty area. Philogene now is just held up by Guinness Walker, and Guinness Walker's done just enough, but it will be a throw into Cardiff on the far side. And Shea Ojo will also be coming on for Cardiff City. And here is the change, and it's Callum O'Dowda who is coming off. Well, if he's not injured, that's a surprise.
Yeah, he just went down a few moments ago, so possibly just picked something up. Yeah, he's moving off a little bit gingerly. So, yeah, I mean, he's been a threat, hasn't he, throughout. Put a number of balls in that first half, a couple of decent dinks.
Arguably Cardiff's best player.
Yeah, he's been bright, hasn't he? When they moved it from right to left, invariably he was able to get beyond Junior Hoylett and deliver.
And Tyrese Forner coming off for Reading, and Tom Ince, their leading goal scorer with 7, will come on. Scored in the victory against Cardiff back in August, and Callum O'Dowda had given Cardiff the lead, but Shane Long with his only league goal so far this season from the penalty spot, and Tom Ince turned that game around. And Cardiff have not won here in the previous 5 home meetings since November of 2015, and Junior Hoylett scored the only goal against his former club here last season. Now G plays it down the line into the penalty area for Callum Robinson, but it's cleared away, and G with a shot which was smothered at source, but it's won back by Wintle. And now Loam has the opportunity to clear the ball away and find Carroll. Carroll plays the ball in field, and here is Ince. Ince skips it up towards the halfway line and invites Mayte to chase. Hoylett will also give pursuit, but Ojo will go all the way back towards Ryan Alsop, who misses his kick, and Mayte almost slides in to put the ball into an empty net, but Alsop recovers just in time, and that was a horrible moment for the Cardiff goalkeeper.
It was. I don't know if it was concentration or the pitch. Well, it nearly turned into an absolute catastrophe for Alsop. Mayte just couldn't quite get there.
Now at the other end, Callum Robinson has been fouled by Loam, and it will be a free kick for Cardiff. But at the other end, Ryan Alsop is still breathing rather heavily because it's a complete air shot, and Mayte was just a couple of yards away from him. I think Mate maybe giving it up. Had he followed in, he would have scored.
Yeah, hit his standing foot, didn't it? He just taken his eye off the ball to clear. He was looking to clip it well downfield and just hit his left foot just as he pulled his right one back. It's a mess. He's able to recover with a really good sliding challenge, actually, just as Mate was pounced.
Free kick here for Cardiff at the other end. Wintle high in the penalty area towards the far post. It's glanced behind, and it will be another corner kick for Cardiff City. At the midpoint of the second half here on Talksport 2, and it's still goalless at the Cardiff City Stadium. But as you can hear, the home crowd are optimistic. The corner on the far side. And Wintle will take it high into the penalty area, nodded away by Dan. Back out towards the corner kick taker. Wintle again driven in, McGuinness shaping for it, loops high in the air and behind, off McGuinness for a goal kick.
Yeah, there's not too much in terms of disagreement from the Cardiff players as they jog back there. I thought that potentially came off a Reading player. They're falling into that trap, I think, where they're putting balls in a little bit too urgently, and Reading are comfortable defending their 18-yard box with the three centre-halves in there. Andy Carroll back there for set pieces as well. In the first half they mixed up their game a little bit. Robinson's not been able to impact it in the hole in the second period. That's when they look like a good side, when there's a bit more variety in their game.
11 shots from Cardiff, only 2 on target. Now Reading at the other end look to win a corner kick, and they do. It was Guinness Walker who made the burst forward, and sliding in to make the challenge was Ng. And Reading here have another set piece, only their third corner of the game.
You hope that the change that Reading have just made, bringing Ince on for Forner, just opens up proceedings a little bit, because Forner's a bit more box to box, a bit more defensively minded. Ince is an out and out attacker, isn't he? A kind of number 10. So hopefully it means both teams are going to go for it in the last 20 minutes.
Ince will take the corner high towards Andy Carroll, who rises for the header, but he was challenged as he rose there, and the header was off target. I think he's fallen awkwardly as well, and Andy Carroll is currently down inside the penalty area, and the Reading medical team has waved on. Joe Rawls will be coming on shortly for Cardiff as well. But everything is aimed towards Andy Carroll, understandably, and he got there, but he was just given a nudge there by Kipra, and as a result he fell rather awkwardly. Maybe it landed on his elbow.
Possibly that, or maybe just the contact into the ribs that came from Kipra just as he was trying to spring to get something on the ball. I mean, he attacks everything with such aggression, such vigour. I've often thought that was maybe to the detriment of his fitness throughout his career. You've got to pick and choose sometimes the balls you go for, but he flings himself into every challenge here. I think it was the elbow from Kipra. They're having a little conversation now, maybe that caused the discomfort.
Keon Atete, the player who has gone off for Cardiff to be replaced by Joe Rawls, so a striker off and a midfielder on, so Callum Robinson will take a more central role now, supported by Connor Wickham, with Shea Ojo wide on the left hand side, and Ojo is chasing now. Reading will clear. Carroll looks to bring the ball under control on this near side, but he's lost out. Wintle plays it forward, it deflects off Loam out of play, and it will be a throw in for Cardiff with 19 minutes to play here on Talksport 2, and it remains Cardiff City 0, Reading 0. Cardiff heading for their 9th successive home game without a victory, but it would be back-to-back clean sheets, which is a rarity this season. And you're listening to Cardiff against Reading in the EFL, live on Talksport 2 with Carling, the UK's number 1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. Now Carroll brings the ball down from an offside position midway inside the Cardiff half on this near side, and it will be a free kick. I don't think there'll be too many ordering the DVD of this one.
No, it's kind of meandering towards a goalless draw at the moment. Both teams identical setups in the second half as well.
Here is Wickham, who brings the ball down, fires in a shot from the right hand side of the penalty area, but it was low into the arms of Joe Lumley. But Connor Wickham does look the more likely now.
Yeah, good touch, instinctive effort as well. It's a clever attempt. Would have taken Lumley by surprise. Actually, the little deflection does him a favour, the goalkeeper. The sting comes out of the strike somewhat. And yeah, I don't know about that last change from Sabri Lamouchi. It's almost, is he declaring? Is he accepting the point because he's reinforced the midfield by bringing on rules for the centre forward? It should give him and Wintle the licence to get forward, kind of play as two number 8s and make the box when the ball gets wide. But yeah, it's not the most positive of changes at this stage in the game.
They were hardly being outrun and outplayed by Reading in the midfield area. Here is Philogene now, coming in field from the right-hand side. Sawyers has got support from NG. Sawyers now with the cross in, looking for Callum Robinson. Headed away by Dan, and now launched long downfield. Ince will chase. McGuinness on a yellow card, just hooks the ball over his shoulder. Rawls will try and keep the ball in play. Launches it long downfield, but it was out of play, and it will be a throw into Cardiff, to Reading rather.
Again, it's what they want, I think. Reading, ball's been slung in when it's not really on to do so. Sawyers is probably 35-40 yards from the goal, just clipped a ball in. They're back in their back five. They've got a centre half playing in central midfield. McIntyre, he showed his worth actually in the second half, kind of smelling danger, crunching into a few challenges in front of the back three, and I think they've been dragged down a little bit in the second half, Cardiff, instead of playing their own game in the first half, which had a bit of zip and a bit of variety to it.
Andy Carroll goes down again, but nothing given, and here is an opportunity for Cardiff. The low ball into the penalty area is blocked. Appeals for handball as Naby Sarr slid in, but nothing has been given. But here is Ojo now for Cardiff, wearing number 10 on this near side. Fresh legs onto the field, finding Callum Robinson. Looks to play the 1-2, curls it right-footed off the crossbar. Callum Robinson scored in very similar fashion at Birmingham on Tuesday, and that's the closest Cardiff have come. A high ball into the penalty area, which is claimed by Lumley, and Callum Robinson inches away from breaking the deadlock. Now Ince has been robbed midway inside the Reading half by Sawyers. Robinson square towards Wintle with a right-footed shot, blocked on the edge of the penalty area by Sarr. Guinness Walker will try and bring it clear. Under pressure from Wintle, heading towards the corner flag, and in the end he just knocks it straight out of play, and it will be a throw-in, and the home crowd find their voices once again.
Well, that wasn't certainly in keeping with the quality of the second half, and it's inventive, it's positive, it's unpredictable, playing forward, little 1-2, intricate stuff, and again they threatened to do that in the first half on a few occasions.
Now Ince plays it back to Sarr, and wide towards the far side, and Guinness Walker, and Reading here just looking for that sucker punch with 15 minutes to play. Goalless it remains here on Talksport 2 at the Cardiff City Stadium. We'll have coverage of day 3 of the first test between New Zealand and England, live and exclusive on Talksport 2 from midnight, and that game is intriguingly poised. And I suppose you could say the same about this one, as Dan plays a high ball forward onto the chest of Carroll, who brings it down well and finds McIntyre laid wide to the far side, and Guinness Walker with the cross, which is deflected. It's taken down by Mate almost spins and shoots, but it's blocked by Kipra, and Cardiff will clear, but it's won back by Reading. And then Bengwe believes he was fouled, and then a free kick's been given for the challenge on Loam by Wickham, and Loam receives a yellow card. 15 minutes to play, and we welcome listeners from Talksport to the Cardiff City Stadium, where it's still Cardiff 0, Reading 0, but the home side close to the opening goal a few moments ago. Callum Robinson with a right-footed curler, smacking back off the crossbar, and Sam Park in the best moment of the second half by some distance.
Arguably the best of the game. It was unpredictable from Callum Robinson, dropping deep to good effect, which he did in the first period. We've not really seen him in that regard since the break, but lovely little 1-2, excellent curling effort, smacking the crossbar, and yeah, they're having a good spell now, Cardiff, and it's about that variety when they look a good side. If they become too one-dimensional and put balls in from wide too early, it's been mopped up by the Reading back line. That was really good from Callum Robinson.
Here is Ojo now attacking the penalty, a right foot shot deflected off the crossbar once again. It's only a corner kick, but Shea Ojo following Callum Robinson by trying his luck from outside the penalty area. This one was deflected, and it hits the top of the crossbar and goes over.
Yeah, really positive step overs, takes the defender into the box where there's jeopardy. I'm not sure it's the cleanest of strikes. The deflection always looks like it's going to take the ball over and just clipped the crossbar. It was a bit of a scuff, actually, wasn't it?
Corner driven in. Kipper at the far post with a missed kick. Robinson with the ball back across the penalty area, nodded down by McGuinness, and it's claimed by Lumley. So Cardiff pushing hard for the winning goal to avoid 9 successive home games without a victory. The end of this game on Talksport 2. 13 minutes to play. Cardiff 0, Reading 0. A long ball played forward again, looking for Tom Ince for the Royals, but Cardiff quickly win it back, and they have the wind in their sails now. Ojo back towards Sawyers, everything to his right hand side, and he finds Unji, and they may not win this game, but we've seen enough from Cardiff to suggest that they won't be involved in the relegation battle at the end of the season, but they need to turn performances like this into wins. Here is Ojo once again. 17 shots on goal, 3 on target.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to concede many. I think we know that already from their form defensively this season, and getting in Sabri Lamucci, who knows certainly how to organise and structure a side. It's that little bit in the important areas.
Here is another opportunity. Philogene with a run into the penalty area, but the cross in aim for Robinson is cut out by Gallen. It will be a throw-in on the far side for Cardiff, with 11 minutes to play on Talksport 2. 0-0 the scoreline. And Reading are about to make another change, and Nelson Abbey will be coming on, the defender, as the cross-in is claimed by Lumley. He made his debut coming off the bench last October and hasn't played since. Big time to come on.
Absolutely, just as they're rocking somewhat. That was great stuff from Philogene, slaloming run down the right hand side into a brilliant position, and then a lack of conviction in his final ball, which kind of sums up his night. Some really good stuff, but final ball not on the money.
Now Kipper for Cardiff, finding Ojo on this near side, back to McGuinness, a long ball forward, and Wickham will be penalised for tangling with Mbengwe, and it's a free kick for Reading. And Nelson Abbey, one of a number of youngsters who have come through the academy, on the bench for Reading tonight. They do have a lack of numbers. And Mbengwe with a mazy dribble forward up towards the edge of the penalty area, and he's still going. He's now got support from Hoylett. Full weight for the cross. Hoylett's delivery, aim for Andy Carroll. He loses out though to Ng, and Philogene will bring it clear for Cardiff, but Carroll almost wins it back, then goes down, and it is a throw into Reading on the level with the edge of the Cardiff penalty area.
Did well, didn't he, Andy Carroll, because Philogene would have known that he was the opposing player who followed him out to the touchline. If he could have skipped beyond him there, he would have really been in business. Philogene would have freed him with the right hand side, so good play from Andy Carroll at this late stage of the game.
Guinness Walker will take the throw in on the far side, and there is plenty of room around the edge of the pitch here at the Cardiff City Stadium, and it's looped in, volleyed away by Wickham, only as far as Ince. Ince tries to dink it back into the penalty area. McGuinness stooping to clear, a missed kick from Hoylett. Here is Ojo now on towards Wintle, but his ball forward is cut out by Loam. Sawyers then has his ankle tapped by Mayte, but keeps his footing, and it's launched forward towards Wickham, and a good ball wide to the far side, and Philogene and G charging forward on the overlap in support. The cross in, looking for Robinson, it just skims his forehead, and it's behind. I think a free kick's been given for a nudge by Robinson in the build-up.
Yeah, just a whisker away. Great ball from Sawyers. Would have been easy to just play square there, but played into Conor Wickham's feet. His hold-up was exemplary. Good ball in, this time from Philogene. That's probably the best he's mustered. And Callum Robinson is in between two defenders there. I'm not sure if he's unsighted, but he's there. He should probably do better.
Well, he's down now, and the Cardiff physios are coming onto the field of play with 8.5 minutes to play here on Talksport 2. Don't forget the cricket, live and exclusive from New Zealand, starts at midnight all the way through the night. Ball by ball coverage only on Talksport 2. And Callum Robinson just having some treatment on his right thigh here. And there is another Cardiff player down, Jaden Philogene as well.
Not ideal. Yeah, maybe the hamstring actually. Callum Robinson, they're just giving him a little bit of a stretch. That would be a colossal blow, wouldn't it, if he was to be missing for any length of time? If there is any slight doubt there, he'll have to come off with a muscle injury, because he is integral to their chances of staying in the division, as he's shown in this second half. So that would be major blow, major.
They don't really have a like-for-like replacement on the bench. Philogene is hobbling away to the far side, but he may be okay to come back on. Players from both sides are just milling around the technical areas, taking on fluids and further instructions. Nathan Abbey has been waiting down there an age to come on, but he may get his opportunity now to make only his second appearance for Reading in the league from the bench. And I think Callum Robinson is coming off. He's hobbling away with the physio towards this near side. And Sabri Lamucci must be looking at his bench and wondering who he's got left. Nestor Guinness-Walker is coming off, and Nelson Abbey will replace him.
Yeah,
I like the look of Guinness-Walker.
Yeah, he's done okay. He's done okay certainly in the first half. Can improve probably his distribution, his forward play somewhat, but yeah, just still thinking about, is Callum Robinson going to come back on? That would be very surprised now. He's wandering off towards the...
No, he's hobbling around to the technical area. So, well, remaining on the bench, they've got Jack Simpson, Andy Rinomota and Marlon Romeo. So whoever they bring on, it will necessitate a bit of a reshuffle. I think they're going to try to bring him back on. Lamucci has actually come outside of his technical area, and they're sending him back on, but he can barely walk. Well, that's an indication that they've got nobody else, but they could do more damage in the short term.
Yeah, unless it's cramp, and then he should be okay to continue, but he's not moving particularly well right now, and that is a big risk, isn't it, considering his importance.
6 minutes of normal time to play, 0-0. Now Sawyers forward again to Rawls. Rawls turns and plays it wide to Philogene. Cardiff have created numerous opportunities in this game, but they've not really worked Joe Lumley throughout, although they've hit the crossbar twice in the second half. Ojo again, back towards McGuinness. And I think Reading now are sitting in, settling for the point. They have not had a single shot on target in the entire game. And I think they were settling in for the point from a long time before this stage. Now Sawyers, wide to the far side. And then G, back towards Sawyers again. Rawls is square of him. Ojo. I suppose he could go further forward if they brought on Romeo, if Robinson really can't continue. And Ojo eventually is held up by Ince, and it will be a throw-in. Taken quickly by the former Liverpool man. Now Rawls slid square towards Kipra again. And the wind and rain has not abated all evening. It's going to be a fairly tricky drive home this evening. Throw into Cardiff City on the far side, and we have 4 minutes to play. And I suppose that, considering their away form, they will consider a point a positive, but when you're playing a team who's been so poor at home themselves, do you maybe think that you should have taken the initiative here, Sam?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, you credit
the other teams have.
You credit them for the way they've defended their box in the second half. Definitely, I think there's been some big performers back there, some big challenges, some headers well won, but yeah, across the piece, I think you have to show a little bit more intent. They've got some decent attacking players. I think they have done for a number of years now, Reading, and maybe not getting the best out of them. Tom Ince has played very deep in relation to where he has played for Reading up to this point, so yeah, that wasn't an attacking change by any stretch of the imagination.
Now Shea Ojo tries to burst into the penalty area, but it's shepherded behind by Hoylett, and it will be a goal kick. Hoylett just gets up ruefully rubbing the base of his spine.
Today's match attendance for you,
18,879, the crowd here this evening, which is around the average for the season. The Canton end is always well filled away to our left, but other areas of the stadium are fairly sparsely populated, really reflecting Cardiff's form. Was another long ball forward for Reading, goes all the way through, one bounce into the arms of Ryan Alsop. It'll never replace football. 2.5 minutes to play here. Alsop's clearance is a rather scuffed one. Ince tries to head it forward, and now Sarr high into the air, flicked on by Carroll. Kipra returns it with interest onto the head of Sarr, and now Rawls. And Rawls brings it towards this near side. He's got support from Ojo, but he continues, and in the end he heads into traffic and doesn't re-emerge with the ball. But here is Sawyers for Cardiff City as we head into the 89th minute. And G on the far side, wide towards Philogene, and he's shown up well down the right, but he's got a problem here because Abbey has forced him back towards the halfway line, but there was support from McGuinness. Reading here are incredibly deep. They've got no out ball at all, not even someone like Tom Ince. Sawyers brings it forward now, finding Rawls. Rawls has got support from Ojo. Wickham waits at the near post. Ojo, though, plays it back towards Rawls, who checks onto his left foot. Cross high to the far post, woefully overhit, straight out of play. But it took a deflection on the way through, and it will be a corner kick.
Yeah, didn't see the deflection from here. It looked wildly overhit. I mean, they're playing with 10 men, essentially, Cardiff as well. So when Joe Rawls is looking up there to try and play it into one of the front men, Callum Robinson is not a viable option. Connor Wickham well marshalled, and yeah, set piece is probably their most likely avenue, considering they're down to 10.
Into the 90th minute, and it's fisted away, the corner by Lumley. Two Reading players run to this near side. Wintle, though, does well to win a throw-in. Quickly in towards Philogene. Now square to Sawyers, 25 yards from goal. Challenged by Mayte, fouled by Mayte. And it's a free kick here for Cardiff as we head towards added time.
Yeah, one he needed to win there. Echoed Mayte just a little bit late, and present another late opportunity for Cardiff to load the box. But that said, Reading have defended it so well in this second half in particular. There's been some really important challenges going in throughout the second 45 minutes, and yeah, the goal hasn't been in much danger throughout.
Wintle over the free kick, and we are into a minimum of 5 more minutes at the end of this game. 0-0. Wintle with the free kick, wide towards the far side. Philogene with a cross into the near post, headed up in the air by Mbengwe, and then driven back in by Sawyers! And Romain Sawyers has done it! Right at the very end, Cardiff City may have taken the victory. Well, the Cardiff City Stadium, which was quiet and rather eerie, is now alive with noise. Romain Sawyers driving the volley through the crowd in the 91st minute. It looks like back-to-back victories for Cardiff City, and they are moving away from the relegation zone. The moment of quality right at the very end from Romain Sawyers. It is Cardiff 1, Reading 0.
Brilliant technical finish from Sawyers. Probably the one player on their side that is capable of this type of thing. It's a difficult ball to strike. He controls it really well through a cluster of bodies, Reading bodies at that. They're well stocked, as you would expect this stage of the game, but he controls it brilliantly outside of the foot, angling towards the bottom right hand corner. Loads of spin on it, off the surface. No more than they deserve. They've kept pressing. It's not been pretty, but it's definitely going to be a deserved 3 points if they can see it out now.
Oh, it was right through the legs of the defender who was on the line. And it could be another late victory here for Cardiff City. They scored 2 goals in the final 5 minutes of Birmingham, and a goal here in added time. Sabri Lamucci looks absolutely delighted. Romain Sawyers scores his first goal since August.
Yeah, just looking at Callum Wilson, Callum Robinson, he can hardly walk. night. So for 5-10 minutes they've been playing down to 10. They've still been able to force the issue and possibly win this game late on. Brilliant goal. Difficult one to control. We've seen a number of strikes go high, wide and handsome in this second half, but Sawyer's on the money there, really drilled it nice and low. Perfect strike.
So Cardiff about to win their first home match since October the 29th, when they beat Rotherham by 1-0. All of the home victories have been by 1-0, and this looks like another one here. But it would be a second victory in a week, and they are absolutely priceless when you're just above the relegation zone.
I don't think it's going to be the last 1-0 we see from this side.
No.
Towards the end of the season, there's a lack of confidence, isn't there, in the forward players. Cabot, we thought maybe could go on a little run after getting his goal against Middlesbrough, but didn't look really like scoring tonight. Atete, same. So yeah, it's probably going to have to be goals from different sources, set pieces, maybe the odd one from a midfield player, but yeah, defensively they've been very sound, and I see that continuing under Lamucci till the end of the season.
Well, Mates want to throw in for Reading on the far side, and just when it seemed they had done enough, they've been undone by Romain Sawyers. And the Reading supporters, many of whom have now left, contemplating that journey back up the M4 with yet another away defeat. But here was a long throw into the penalty area towards McIntyre, who heads on, and it's onto the roof of the netting. And if you don't produce a single effort on target, you leave yourself open to that.
Absolutely. And yeah, coming to the game tonight, was intrigued to see what I was going to get from Reading. Having looked at their last few performances and seen the criticism for Paul Ince, and I think it's played out, and can understand the disappointment amongst the Reading support right now, because they haven't showed any ambition tonight at all. Sporadic attacks, little period, first 5-10 minutes of the second half, where they're able to get up the pitch and maintain a little bit of attacking, bit of momentum, but yeah, to not have anything on Allsop's goal at all is pretty pitiful, really, especially given the position they're in. They're in a position where the handbrake can be off a little bit and they can perform with a little bit of freedom. Hasn't looked like that at all. It looks like they are scrapping at the foot of the table for dear life. Not good enough, really. And they've been well supported tonight, well backed, and they'd expect more as an attacking force, definitely.
Well, Cardiff's 19th shot of the game finally found the back of the net. Callum Robinson has come off. I'm just seeing if they've made a change. Who of the players have come on? As Wickham goes down, and now a long ball is played downfield again. Here is Hoylett, and of course Cardiff will have to finish the game with 10 players here. Ince, and he's been fouled by Sawyers. It will be a free kick, and this could be a last chance. Ince with a bit of handbags involving Joe Rawls, both players slapping away at each other, but it will be a free kick in the 96th minute. And this could be the final chance here. Ince over the free kick. Cardiff have everybody back, even the goalkeeper. Joe Lumley is forward here. Ince drives it high into the penalty area. Lumley is underneath it. He wins the ball in the air, but he can't direct the header towards goal, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Again, Andy Carroll looked well placed, didn't he? There might have been a Cardiff player in between him and Joe Lumley. Lumley took it upon himself to go and get that first contact, but could only head it out of play, and that should be that.
Allsop will take the goal kick. We are into the 97th minute here at the Cardiff City Stadium. And that's it. Back-to-back wins for Cardiff City in their fight against relegation. Their first here at the Cardiff City Stadium since October. They had to wait a long time for it. Romain Sawyers in the first minute of added time but it's a deserved victory on the balance of play. Reading were absolutely awful, and their away form remains dire. But for Cardiff City, the green shoots of recovery under Sabri Lamucci can now be glimpsed. It is finished. Cardiff City 1, Reading 0.